بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده تعالى ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله ثم أما بعد. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm going to go to sleep too. Wake up. Before I start my lecture, there's a poem or a line. And it's just an answer to Sheikh Abdul Rashid with his lecture. Because he talks about a lot of things historically, even though I came late, but I guess I kind of understood what he was trying to relate to you of what was going on in the past. But he also reminded me of a line. ليس الفتى من قال كان أبي إن الفتى من قال ها أنا ذا. Let me repeat it for you. ليس الفتى من قال كان أبي إن الفتى من قال ها أنا ذا. The dude, the man, the person that counts is not that who says my father was, but it's that one that comes and says, here I am. We can sing all the songs and we can write all the historical books and we can cry out all about the history and what we have done as Muslims in the past, and we should be proud of it because we've done a lot. But at the end of the day, it's called past. P-A-S-T. Past. It's called history. People read it to entertain themselves. We should be part of the new history, the new era. We should establish our own dynasty and legacy. So one day, somebody in the future will stand up and speak about us. I can just imagine 300 years from now or so, someone stands up and talks about our time. See, our time. Defeats, bloodshed, countries falling left and right. Illiteracy in our country surpasses all countries. Oppression, dictatorships. Heck, a lot of you have changed their names from Muhammad to Mike, from Aisha to whatever. Our earnings, I don't know how it is. Most of us sell alcohol. We don't care about riba anymore. There's a whole bunch of stuff. What kind of history are we leaving behind us? That should be a thought. And being here in this conference is a positive note. Maybe out of this conference, one of you will be somebody that will re-energize the ummah and be like Jabir ibn Hayyan or a Zufi, as Sheikh Abdul Rashid has said, not just discover the next galaxy, but actually go up there. You never know. But that can never happen if we find ourselves away from what I will talk about today. If we find ourselves away from the Quran al-Kareem. How many of you know the Quran al-Kareem? Alhamdulillah, a lot of you don't know the Quran al-Kareem too. Okay, how many of you don't know the Quran al-Kareem? Well, at least I saw a hand. Honesty is good. Al-Quran al-Kareem. Every existence has a source of energy. Do you know what keeps us planted on earth? We're not floating. Gravity. Gravity is the source of keeping us stable on earth. Do you know what keeps earth from leaning to the side? The mountains. If it wasn't for the mountains, we'll be going like this. We'll be sliding. And I'm not talking about Disney World. You'll slide. With no gravity, in no stability, no mountains, we'll be floating all over the place. You can't live. You can't. What keeps a house intact together between the husband and the wife and the children is love. Thank you. Are you guys too ashamed of this word? Okay. I won't say love. Love. So that keeps everything together in the house. Everything has a source. Source of energy. Source of light. Source of existence. We as Muslims have a special source that keeps us going and keeps us alive and for us to survive. It's called Al-Quran Al-Kareem. Al-Quran. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says in the hadith, تَرَكْتُ فِيكُمْ مَا إِن تَمَسَّكْتُمْ بِهِمَا لَن تَضِلُّوا بَعْدِي أَبَدًا. I have left behind me, if you were to hold it onto it, something, if you are to hold on to it, you will never go astray. Never. You'll never go wrong. Can you imagine living never going wrong? He said, Al-Quran and the Sunnah. That's what keeps us together. That's what keeps us strong. That's what keeps our identity known. That's what makes us who we are. And what I'm going to talk about today is just a simple issues that many of you already know. But some of the hadiths, they're very, very wonderful to talk about. So I'm going to read some of the hadiths and we'll talk about them. And we'll talk about the effects of the Quran Al-Kareem in our personal life. And hopefully, inshallah, we'll come out more serious about reading the Quran Al-Kareem and living with it and living according to it than we ever were. عن عبد الله ابن عباس رضي الله تعالى عنه قال عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه قال. If you know Arabic, these ahadiths are very beautiful. So listen to them. إن هذا القرآن مأدبة الله فتعلموا من مأدبته ما استطعتم. إن هذا القرآن هو حبل الله المتين هو النور الشافي وعصمة لمن تمسك به ونجاة لمن تبعه لا يعوج فيقوم ولا يزيغ فيستعتب ولا تنقضي عجائبه ولا يخلق من كثرة الرد فاتلوه فإن الله تعالى يأجركم على تلاوته بكل حرف 10 حسنات أما أني لا أقول ألف لام ميم حرف ولكن ألف حرف ولام حرف وميم حرف. How many of you know Arabic? Okay, it's enough. I don't need to translate it. Hey, one is enough. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in this hadith, the Quran is ma'dubatullah. It is the meal that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is providing you. You know what a meal means? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is inviting you. You're His guest. Okay? You're His guest. Listen. And what He's putting on the table for you, what's the meal that He's offering you, is the Quran Al-Kareem. When you're invited at someone's house, they provide you with the best that they have and you eat it. You absorb it. It goes into your system. It nourishes your body. It's the nutrition that makes you alive. It gets into your blood system. It makes your body float. It makes you go up and down and all that. Don't eat too much, you'll get fat. But that's what makes you survive. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, my meal to you, since you are my guest, is the Quran al-Karim. That's the meal. So he said, so learn from the meal as much as you can. There's no limits how much you can take. It's an open buffet. You're coming and you're taking whatever you want. There's no illness whatsoever, no high blood pressure, no diabetes, no cholesterol, no whatsoever. Eat as much as you can. How? By learning. فَتَعَلَّمُوا مِنْ مَأْدُبَةُ اللَّهِ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. For this Quran is hablullah. It's the rope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keeps you connected and linked to Him. In fact, there's a hadith, subhanAllah, in Sunan al-Imam Ahmad, where he said, the Quran is hablullah. Allah is holding on one side of it, and you hold on to the other. You grab on, He's grabbing on one side of this rope, and you grab on the other side. Now imagine if this is the rope, the brother is holding there, and we're holding here. That's the link. وَلَا يُمَثَّلُ عَلَى اللَّهِ شَيْئًا فَلَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٌ وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْبَصِيرُ. You don't make examples of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but we're talking about the rope. In the hadith, He's holding on one side, and you hold on the other. If you let go, then you have no link with Him. No connection whatsoever. For as long as you're holding on to the Quran al-Karim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is holding on to you. فَهُوَ حَبْلُ اللَّهِ الْمَتِينَ. And He said mateen means thick. It can't break. As long as you can hang on it. Hang on it and you'll survive. You can lean on it. Instead of singing, lean on me. No, lean on that. Yeah, see, all of you know about it, don't you? Huh? Gotcha. But you hold on to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's rope and you'll survive. هُوَ حَبْلُ اللَّهِ الْمَتِينَ وَهُوَ النُّورُ الشَّافِي. It is the light that cures. You know, I sat thinking about this. Why would the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam say النور الشافي؟ يعني لما يقول الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم نور الشافي؟ هل في النور شفاء؟ Is there any cure in light? Do you know what keeps the oxygen going? Oh, what happened? Brother, she didn't say that one? If it wasn't for the sun, would we have any kind of oxygen? No. What keeps our oxygen going is the sun, the light, the rays of the sun. If Earth was all dark, night all the time, we'll run out of oxygen. We won't have any more. Understand? So it's that cure. It kills the germs. You know, in fact, even in fiqh they say whatever the sun burns, it's pure. It's pure. فَهُوَ طَاهِرٌ مَا لَامَسَتْهُ الشَّمْسُ فَقَدْ طَهُرٌ. Whatever the sun touches is cured. This Quran al-Karim is the light that cures us. Otherwise we're dark, we're sick, we're ill, we can't function. If this Quran al-Karim does not enter in our house, you know what our example is? The Rasul says in the hadith, he said the example of a person that does not have Quran within him is like a haunted house. It's like an empty haunted house. Imagine living in an empty haunted house. Scary, isn't it? Huh? Especially the sisters. Imagine you're asleep and then you hear. Yesterday we were invited for dinner at Dr. Hatim's house. And he lives all the way across where the KKK is. Serious. And then when we were walking out of the house, one of the brothers said, man, he has a lot of insects here. I said, that's not my concern. My concern is just being here. It's a no man's land. Imagine living in a house that's haunted. There's a lot of jinn in there. A person that doesn't have Quran al-Karim, there's no peace coming from him. He's scary. He's like a haunted house. All you hear from him is squeals. Ooh. That's exactly what that person is, subhanAllah. But the Quran al-Karim brings peace, comfort. You relate to that person, subhanAllah. As soon as you look at his face, you know he has something good. تعرفهم بِسِيمَاهُمْ. You would know them just by the look. SubhanAllah. You can notice a Muslim, we come from countries, sometimes there's Muslims and non-Muslims, right? Some countries have Muslims and Christians, like Ethiopia. In Somalia, in Yemen, we have Jews. Allahu Akbar. You would know, you would see this is a Muslim, this one is not. Just by the look at their faces. Some are brothers that embraced Islam, you can see the difference in their face as quick as La ilaha illallah is being said on their face. Nurul Imani fil wajh. This Quran al-Kareem is a Nurul Shafi. It's the light as well as the cure. فيه شفاء ايش؟ للناس. قد أنزلنا إليكم نورا مبينا يهدي به الله من اتبع رضوانه سبل السلام. يهدي به الله من اتبع نور السلام. يعني نور السلام أي the path of peace, the enlightenment of peace. يهدي به الله من اتبع رضوانه سبل السلام. Subhanallah. Not just He guides you, but He guides you in enlightenment and in peace. That's what the Quran al-Kareem is. Most of our problems is that we're trying to flashlight our own way, and our flashlights are not energized batteries. The only thing that can keep on going and going and going and going and going and going and going is the Quran al-Kareem. قل لو كانت البحور يعني حبرا والخشب كلها والأشجار أقلاما لنفدت قبل أن تنفد كلمات الله. ولو كان البحر مدادا لكلمات ربي لنفد البحر قبل أن تنفد كلمات ربي ولو جئنا بمثله مددا. Even if it's multiplied. The only thing that can continue to guide you on the way to where there's no darkness and no battery dies is this Quran al-Kareem. Subhanallah al-Azim. For the Quran will survive for as long as Muslims are surviving. You understand? وَقَالْ وَنَجَاةٌ لِمَنْ تَبَعَهُ. And it's also salvation for those who follow it. Y'all know what the salvation means? Now, if you ever hear, sermons in Christians, they always talk about salvation, 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 salvation. It took me a long time to understand what salvation means. I thought it was like salvation being, in those Lost World on TVs, and then you survivors. It's najah. It's salvation within. It's for you to feel that you exist. That you exist. That you find at the end of the tunnel light. That you find that this Quran al-Kareem is lifting you. Lifting you to where you don't get lost. To where at the end, you're victorious over your own self and victorious over everything else. وَنَجَاةٌ لِمَنْ تَبِعَهُ. If you don't follow it, you're not successful. You can't be successful. There is no Muslim that can be successful in this dunya without the Quran al-Kareem. Umar ibn al-Khattab, he said in one of his statements, all of you know it. You all know it, right? So I don't have to say it. قال إن الله أعزنا بهذا الدين فإن ابتغينا العزة بغيره أذلنا الله. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the honor within this deen. And if we're to seek an honor from other than this deen, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will humiliate us. And there's a lot of humiliation, isn't there? قال لا يعوج فيقوم. This Quran cannot go wrong for someone to correct it. It cannot go wrong for someone to correct it. Can you imagine something straight that never goes wrong? لا يعوج. In fact, in the hadith, a better translation, لا يعوج, it will not curve for you to straighten it. It's straight, it's not curved for you to straighten it. So it's not going to take you the long way. They say in geometry, the fastest way is what? The straightest, right? The shortest distance to your destination is the fastest one. It's a straight line. This Quran al-Kareem is not curved, so it's taking you a long way. It's straight. So you'll get to your destination quickly. You want to get to Jannah? The Quran al-Kareem. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam one day was sitting with his companions and he took his stick and made a straight line. And then he took a lot of sticks, a lot of lines on the side. And he said, وَأَنَّ هَذَا سَبِيلِي وَأَنَّ هَذَا صِرَاطِي مُسْتَقِيمًا فَاتَّبِعُوهُ وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا السُّبُلَ فَتَفَرَّقَ بِكُمْ عَنْ سَبِيلِهِ. This is my straight path. You follow it. And these are paths that the shayateens are taking. Don't follow it. In the hadith, when Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman, he said, people used to ask the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the good times. And I asked him about the bad times out of fear that I might fall into them. So when he talked about there was nubuwah, then khilafah, the hadith. And then after the khilafah, there would be also, bad times. And then after those bad times, there's good times with a little smoke. It's a long hadith. And then he said, after that, then there will be bad times. رِجَالٌ عَلَى أَبْوَابِ جَهَنَّمٍ مَنْ أَجَابَهُمْ إِلَى مَا دَعَوْهُمْ إِلَيْهِ قَذَفُوهُ فِيهِ. And there will be people that will stand at the gates of hellfire. Imagine, they're standing at the gate. Come here, let's go. Hey, over here. Whoever listens to them and answers them, they'll throw them in hellfire. He said, describe them to us, Ya Rasulullah. He said, they're people that talk with our tongue. And they look like us. And they dress like us. Muhajjaba. They have a beard. They talk like us. Arabi, mashallah, fasih. Arabi fatih. And they speak probably the language of Islam. But they're taking people astray. He said these are the subul. These are the paths of wrong. Al-Quran al-Kareem is not curved. It will not take you around the circles. It'll take you pinpoint to your destination. It's the best GPS system you can ever find. You know what a GPS system is? Those things that take you with the directions and stuff and all that. That commercial, I love you. Let's keep it professional. The Quran al-Kareem is the shortest way to Jannah. Actually, there is no other way except that. So Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, قال ولا يعوج فيقوم ولا يزيغ فيستعتب. And it will not go fault. It's not just it will not curve, it will not go fault. It will not make a mistake. You want to be perfect, you got to find the Quran al-Kareem. So no one will ever blame you. فَيُسْتَعْتَبْ. You will never be blamed. If someone looks at you and say, why did you do this? The Quran said you can't be blamed. You can't be blamed. Subhanallah. وَلَا تَنْقَضِي عَجَائِبُ. I love this. وَلَا تَنْقَضِي عَجَائِبُ. Its amazings cannot end. Its amazings cannot end. If you study the Quran al-Kareem, brothers and sisters, you will always be amazed. How many of you read Surah Al-Fatiha? Let me just give you a little example. You read it at least how many times a day? 5 only? How many times at least a day you read it? 17 times. Barakallah fi. Because there are 17 rak'ats each day. 2 Fajr, 4 Dhuhr, that's how many? 6. And 4 Asr, that's 10. And 3 Maghrib, that's 13. And 4 Isha, that's 17. You read it at least 17 if you don't pray the Sunans. Shame on you. What's that 17? So at least 17 times you read Al-Fatiha. How many of you have ever been bored of reading it? You get tired of reading Surah Al-Fatiha again and again and again. How many? How many of you have felt that you just got tired of reading Surah Al-Fatiha? Can you raise your hand? What's your name, brother? What's your name? Huh? Abbas? Now imagine over here, if I could continue saying Abbas, 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 Abbas. You know who's the first person that's going to get annoyed? Abbas himself. And it's his name. He's going, what? That's it. I mean, if your wife calls you every hour, you turn your phone off. I'm busy. But you read the Quran al-Kareem every single day. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. How can you get bored? If I continue reading it all day, do you know what will happen? You'll get more relaxed, more comfort, more at peace, a lot of harmony. I was invited to a hospital called Vanderbilt Hospital in Nashville, Tennessee, to a psychiatrist, whatever that word, no one can pronounce. Yeah, we're those people that are sick a little bit. And they wanted me to go give a lecture to comfort them, to pray, because, as an imam, pray for them. So I figured, what am I going to do? I went and read Quran al-Kareem to them. Listen, brothers and sisters. For 30 minutes, none of them moved from their place. Do you know what that means, 30 minutes for mentally ill individuals not to move? Their doctor said, this is the first time in so many years that I've seen them stand still for 30 minutes. It's the Quran. لا تنقضي عجائبه. Its amazements don't end. Their scientific facts don't end. No, Shaykh was talking about the universe and galaxies. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِمَوَاقِعِ النُّجُومِ وَإِنَّهُ لَقَسَمٌ لَوْ تَعْلَمُونَ عَلِيمٌ. Let me not swear by where the stars were. Where the stars were. Not where the stars are. Because when you look at the sky, that's where the stars were. They already left. It takes time for the light to get here. When you understand the Arabic language, you appreciate this Quran al-Kareem more. It's amazing. Let me just give you an example. If you understand the language. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked to Musa, He used 3 different terms in the way He communicated to Musa. He said, إِذْ نَادَاهُ رَبُّهُ بِالْوَادِ الْمُقَدَّسِ طُوًى. نَادَاهُ. And then He used the word قَالَ. قَالَ اذْهَبْ إِلَى فِرْعَوْنَ إِنَّهُ طَغَى. And then He used the word كَلَّمَ. وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهُ مُوسَى تَكْلِيمًا. نَادَى وَقَالَ وَكَلَّمَ. Does anyone know the difference between these 3 words? You know? Basically, most of the people think they just mean that He talked to him, right? He talked to him, He said to him. There's a big difference. That's the amazing thing about the Quran, if you know Arabic. Nada is when you talk to somebody that you don't know, that you have not introduced yet, got introduced to. He's distant, or you don't know him. It's like many of you, I don't know who you are. So if I wanted to talk to you, I would use the word nada. Hey, I'm talking to you because I don't know you. That's why when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first talked to Musa, what did He do? He said, إِنِّي أَنَا رَبُّكَ فَخْلَعْنَا عَلَيْكَ إِنَّكَ بِالْوَادِ الْمُقَدَّسِ طُوًى. He's introducing Himself. I am your Lord. And then He told him His name. إِنَّنِي أَنَا اللَّهُ. After there was introduction, and they got to know each other, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned His authority when He said, إِنِّي أَنَا رَبُّكَ. وَالرَّبُّ هُوَ السَّيِّد, is the master. Then He showed His authority, and He said, اذهب إلى فرعون إنه طغى. Go to Fir'aun. He spoke in an authoritative manner. Go to Fir'aun. So He used the word قال. If you talk to your friends, you don't say قلت له unless you're ordering him. Linguistically, it's not a nice word to use in Arabic. Unless you're an authority. So you don't tell to your father, I قلت لأبي قلت لأمي, because you're not the authority. Your mother is, your father is. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was in a position of authority over Musa. But then, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked to Musa in a more comforting zone. Friendship zone, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not a friend of anyone, but He comforted Musa. That's why He said, وَاصْطَنَعْتُكَ لِنَفْسِي. I made you for myself. I made you for myself. Then He said, وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهُ مُوسَى تَكْلِيمًا. When you talk to your friends, you say, كَلَّمْتُ. تكلمت مع زوجتي. تكلمت مع أخي. I talk to my friend, I talk to my wife, I talk to my colleagues. Use the word in Arabic, كلمة. You will not find it different in the Quran al-Karim. That's the amazing thing about the Quran. If you know the language, it's amazing. It's amazing. And I can go on and on. And if you want to learn something about this, there's a sheikh by the name of Ahmed al-Kubaisi. Ahmed al-Kubaisi, he comes on TV actually. He has a program called Al-Kalima wa Akhawatuha. The word in his sisters. And he speaks about the Quran al-Karim in the differences of these words and why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose this word and nothing else. Chose this word, nothing else. The amazing thing about the Quran is its linguistic side of it. SubhanAllah, one of the amazing things. That's why Allah Ta'ala says, Qur'anan Arabiyyan ghayri dhi iwajin la'allahum yattaqun. It's Quran that is straight. You learn the language, you'll see how amazing things that the Quran al-Karim. The scientific facts of the Quran al-Karim, it's amazing. The forecasting of the future, the prophecy of the Quran al-Karim, it's incredible. How the future will be. وَيَخْلُقُ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ وَلَتَعْلَمُنَّ نَبَأَهُ بَعْدَ حِينٍ. It's amazing. The past historical events in the Quran al-Karim, it's incredible. Can you imagine the story of Yusuf alayhi salam? Is there any better story than the story of Yusuf alayhi salam? So romantic, so loving, so sensitive, so touching, so dramatic. Imagine a little child being put in the well, and then his brothers plotting this, coming back with this clothing that's full of blood. The wolf ate him. And then they're crying, make-believe stuff. And then the father, can you imagine the faith that this father had that his son one day will return because of the dream? After so many years, he said, يا بني اذهبوا فتحسسوا من يوسف وأخيه ولا تيأسوا من روح الله. Go and look for Yusuf and his brother. Don't lose hope. And they said, you're back to your old illusions. ضلالك القديم. You're back to how you were in the ending. Have you ever seen a happier ending than the story of Yusuf alayhi salam? لا تثريب عليكم اليوم. No blame on you today, go. Everything is fine. And the slick and shaitanic way that the wife of Aziz Misr was doing, she closed the doors, fixed herself up. You're not going anywhere now. Where do you think you're going? وَغَلَّقَتِ الْأَبْوَابَ وَقَالَتْ هَيْتَ لَكَ. SubhanAllah, if you know the qira'at, وَقَالَتْ هَيْتَ لَكَ وَهَيَّأْتُ, it means هَيَّأْتُ نَفْسِي لَكَ وَهِيْتَ لَكَ وَهُؤْتَ لَكَ. All these are qira'ats. Hey, I prepared myself. And where are you going? He runs away and she grabs him. Come back here, until she tears his clothes. Can you look at the amazing things of this story? You can't find this anywhere. People cannot make so much pure and honest and loving stories. It's just incredible. I mean, women are sitting there cutting their hands. They don't even know that they're cutting their hands because he came in. Blood is coming out of their hands that he didn't even know. And then he goes to prison and nothing problem. And subhanAllah, look at the iman that he has. Look at the iman. When you make dua for good or for evil on yourself? How many of you make dua that, oh Allah, bring all your punishment on me? Astaghfirullah. Well, Quraysh did. اللهم إن كان هذا هو الحق من عندك فأنزل علينا حجارة من السماء. If this is the truth, bring rocks on us. Yusuf alayhi salam was tested. Either to fall into the trap of those ladies or go to prison. Because she said, لَإِن لَمْ يَفْعَلْ مَا آمُرُهُ لَيُسْجَنَنْ. So he made dua. Imagine what that dua was. Hey, I'd rather go to prison. Hey, the trials of this dunya are more acceptable than the trials of the deen. If I am to be trialed in my religion or trialed in this dunya, no, let me be trialed in the dunya. That's okay, I'll go to prison. He goes to prison for 7 years or 8 years or whatever years it is, and he's the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Beautiful story. Beautiful story. The story of the purity of Musa alayhi salam when he met his wife for the first time, or wife-to-be. Amazing. The story of children, with Ibrahim and his children. Amazing story. This is what the Quran al-Karim. وَلَا تَنْقَضِي عَجَائِبُهُ وَلَا يَخْلُقُ مِنْ كَثْرَةِ الرَّدِّ فَاتْلُوهُ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ تَعَالَى يَأْجُرُكُمْ عَلَى تِلَاوَةِ. Read it, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you for you reading this Quran al-Karim. Do you know that everything in the universe is created? Are you created or not? The only thing in this dunya that is not created is what? Al-Quran al-Karim. Do you know why the Quran is not created? Because it's the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's one of His attributes. Al-Kalamu min sifatih. It's one of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the words of the Quran al-Karim. I'm not talking about the book. The papers and stuff and all that, they're created. But the words within it, they're not created. If you memorize the Quran al-Karim, you actually have something within you that's not created. Can you imagine? You didn't get that one, did you? If you mention your mother's name, your mother is created, and her name is created too. Everything that you do in yourself is created. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even created what you do. So when you sleep, He created sleep for you. When you eat, He created eating for you. When you punch somebody, He created punching for you. But when you say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, He didn't create it. He said it. And you have it. You understand? You will possess within your possession something that's not created. An attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in your memory, in your heart. Can you imagine owning one of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your heart if you memorize the Quran al-Karim? That's why you can't go wrong with it. Because it's pure. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pure, and all of His attributes is perfect. Just like Him. That's why He said in one of the hadiths, Hadith al-Qudsi, فَضْلُ الْقُرْآنِ عَلَى سَائِرِ الْكَلَامِ كَفَضْلِ عَلَى سَائِرِ الْخَلْقِ. The Quran, compared with its greatness to all the words and all the speech, is equivalent to I being compared to everything else. Is anything near Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or be compared? And so is all the words. So if you memorize the Quran al-Karim, you have taken one of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala within you. In Yawm al-Qiyamah, you will be told, اقرأ وارقى فإن آخر منزلة لك في الجنة عند آخر حرف تقرأه. So if you know the whole Quran al-Karim, you keep on rising and rising and rising, because you'll be said, read and elevate. Read and elevate. For your position in Jannah is at when you finish reading. At the last letter you finish reading. So if you know the whole Quran al-Karim, Alif Lam Mim, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. You're going up, 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 up. اذبحوا بقرة, up. You're continuing. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا تداينتم بدين إلى أجل مسمى. You're towards the end of Surah Al-Baqarah. You're still going up. وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. You finish Surah Al-Baqarah. You're still going. ألف لام ميم. Then you're starting Surah Ali Imran. And you go to Surah An-Nisa. And you continue going. Oh my God, you're already in Surah Al-Kahf that you read every Friday. Alhamdulillah alladhi anzala ala abdihi al-kitab. Then you go to Surah Maryam, Surah Inshallah Taha ma anzalna alayka al-Qur'ana litashqa. You finish Surah Al-Ankabut. Now you already finished 20 juz. Now you only have 10 more. And you're going, and you're going, and you're going, you're elevating. Do you know how far you can go up to? Do you know how far you can go up to? مع الملائكة الكرام البررة. With the angels all the way up. If you know the whole Quran al-Karim. And you know who will brag about you Yawm al-Qiyamah more than anyone else? Your father and mother. Because they'll come and they have over their heads what? Tijan. They got a crown over their heads. They're king and queens Yawm al-Qiyamah. That's my daughter right there. Look at her. That's my son over there. Look at him. And not just that. SubhanAllah, not just that. Not just that they're wearing the crowns and they're bragging about you everywhere, but 70 of your families that's supposed to go to hellfire, you will take them to Jannah with you. Uh-huh. First of all, the Quran will take you to Jannah, even though you were supposed to go to hell. If you were supposed to go to hell in the Quran, you memorize, the Quran will stand there and argue, I'm not going anywhere until I take him by hand to Jannah. But, no buts. But he didn't deserve it. No. The Quran will argue. يجادل القرآن فيه حتى يقول الله تعالى له خذ بيده إلى الجنة. Until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will tell the Quran al-Kareem, okay, take his hand, take him to Jannah. Just go. No, not yet. 70 of his families are coming with him too. Hey, wallahi, ya akhwan, wallahi, I'm not making this up. This is hadith sahih fi sahih al-Bukhari. And then you start choosing 70. Now let me ask you, how many of you memorize 70 people of their family members now? Imagine, you're not taking 70 that's supposed to go to Jannah. You're taking 70 that are not supposed to go to Jannah. Look, I'm teaching you. Make sure you take me with you. All right? And then you start choosing 70 of your family members. They all go to Jannah because of you. Because of this Quran al-Kareem. Can you imagine? Let me give you a short version. If you can't memorize the whole Quran al-Kareem, Surah Al-Mulk every night will argue on behalf of you Yawm al-Qiyamah. Surah Al-Mulk, every night, if you read it, it will argue on behalf of you Yawm al-Qiyamah and take you to Jannah. If you can't do the whole Quran. تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. It's only two faces. One page and the other page. If you're using the Quran from Medina, it's only two sides. If you read it every night before you go to sleep, it will take you to Jannah. I guarantee you that. Wallahi. Okay? Because I didn't make that statement that Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did. Just read it every night. Now the problem is that you reading it every night, because one of the nights you get tired and you get lazy. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says in the hadith, إِنَّ لِلَّهِ أَهْلِينَ مِنَ النَّاسِ إِلَى مَنْ هُمْ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ قال هم أهل القرآن فهم أهل الله وخاصيته. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this earth has associates and families. He has friends, acquaintance. Allah has acquaintance in this world. People that are referred to Him. So the Sahaba immediately said, Ya Rasulullah, who are these people that are considered acquaintance to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Who will be, sitting with Him, talking to Him? Who? He said, Ahlul Quran. Why? Because they're talking to Him with the Quran al-Kareem. When they're reading the Quran al-Kareem, they're speaking His words. His words. And sometimes He answers back. So if you say, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, He answers back and He says, Hamadani Abdi. You say, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, He said, Athna Alayya Abdi. Maliki Yawmiddin, Majjadani Abdi. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. He said, that's between me and my servant. هذا بيني وبين عبدي. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. يقول هذا لعبدي ولعبدي ما سأل. Can you imagine talking to Him and He talks back? He said, Alhamdulillah. He says, my servant praised me. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. He said, oh, my servant is praising me. Malik Yawmiddin, my servant is glorifying me. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in, that's between you and I, he says. Because just because you say you will worship Him doesn't mean it's true. He said, that's between you and I. Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim, he said, that's for my servant, and for my servant whatever he asks. So ask whatever you want. He talks to you. That's why he says, Inna lillahi ahleen. Ahleen, a family. You want to be part of that circle, you got to memorize the Quran al-Kareem. You can't be part of that circle without the Quran al-Kareem. You can't. Now, some of you might say, well, memorizing the Quran al-Kareem is not easy. It's hard. How many of you think memorizing the Quran al-Kareem is hard? Those who raised their hands and said it's hard, you're contradicting with the Quran al-Kareem. Wallahi. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Qamar, how many of you have read Surah Al-Qamar? Didn't you see many times an ayah says, وَلَقَدْ يسرنا القرآن للذكر فهل من مدكر. Indeed, we have simplified the Quran al-Karim. We have simplified. You know what's hard about reading the Quran al-Karim? Your will. Your intentions. Your intentions are not there, and your will is not there. You don't want to. So you're over there, your parents are saying, I want you to read the Quran. Okay. Can't finish the surah. But if you wanted to, that's why he said, فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. Is there someone that can comprehend? The matter is, the hard part about it is you wanting. Wanting. It's you willing. Not that the Quran is hard. There are children at the age of 10 memorized it. I went to Indonesia in 1996. I saw many children memorize the Quran al-Karim. They don't know how to speak one word in Arabic. Not one. Y'all, the Somali community is one of the most aggressive and progressive communities in memorizing the Quran al-Karim. I lived in Nashville, Tennessee. And over there in the Masjid al-Faruq, they had a Quranic school, and so many of them memorized the Quran al-Karim. You know Imam Abdul Shakur? No. Abdul Shakur Ibrahim. He used to be the Imam there. He's in Kenya now. He has a big warehouse, a lot of money now. I always tell them, get out of being an Imam, you'll be rich. But there were many children that memorized the Quran al-Karim. All you need is a will. Irada. You know, that you want to. If you want to, wallahi, you'll memorize it. See, I'm giving a lot of wallahis today. I remember that. Because when I went to Medina to study, I didn't know how to speak Arabic either. And I memorized the Quran al-Karim before I was able to speak Arabic. Because I wanted to. You set a schedule, do this. Set a schedule, and take these things with you. One, don't memorize too much at one time. Okay? Memorize a little bit. And what I mean a little bit, not half an ayah, okay? I memorized 2 words, and oh, that's a little enough. Now, make sure that you memorize, let's say start from the beginning with half a page. Okay? Even if you can memorize more, don't. Stop there. After 6 months or 4 months into it, then memorize 1 page. And don't go beyond 1 page ever. Stop at 1 page all the time. Number 2, make sure you don't sit more than 1 hour each session. So don't sit there and read Quran for 2.5, 3 hours. It doesn't work. Your mind just goes away. Even if you shake. It's not going to work. Sometimes people read it. And I'm over there, okay, when are you going to stop shaking, you know? You can't comprehend with all of that. More than an hour, don't sit in one session. If you want to go back again, stop for half hour or whatever, and then come back. That's number 2. Number 3, don't memorize every day. Memorize only 3 days a week. And 3 days for reviewing. And 1 day, don't do anything at all. Don't even touch it. Because there's a limit for a person. So only 3 days a week. So assuming Monday, I'm just giving names, or let's say Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. That's for memorization. And then Saturday, and Monday, and Wednesday, that's for reviewing. And Friday, it's a holiday. It's our holiday, it's our weekly holiday. Don't memorize on 1 day, don't review 1 day, get yourself a break. Okay? And when you review, make sure that your reviewing doesn't end up being memorizing. So you should not need more than a half an hour a day for reviewing. Okay? Number 4, make sure when you memorize loudly. And when you review loudly. Don't read to yourself. That doesn't work. You got to hear yourself. So here, طه ما أنزلنا عليك القرآن لتشقى إلا تذكرة لمن يخشى تنزيلا ممن خلق الأرض والسماوات الأولى. And read with tajweed. Don't review like this. طه ما أنزلنا عليك القرآن لتشقى إلا تذكرة لمن يخشى تنزيلا ممن خلق الأرض والسماوات الأولى الرحمن على العرش استوى له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وما. That's for tarawih. Why do I say read loudly and slowly? Because you want to establish what? A habit. Once you establish a habit, it becomes natural. All right? Then you don't have to think that much. Another thing, always memorize from the same book, from the same Quran. Don't change texts or Qurans. Even if it gets worn out, use that same one. And if you have to change it, use the same number of lines. Why? Because you want to combine your photographic memory too. That way when someone tells you an ayah, وَخُذْ بِيَدِكَ ضِغْثًا فَاضْرِبْ بِهِ وَلَا تَحْنَثْ, you remember exactly where it is on the page. So if you ever forget, you know there's something missing right there. Because you can photograph. Every one of us have a very strong photographic memory. It's stronger than words. So always use the same Quran. Always. Always. Alright? Another one. Don't ever review to yourself. Unless you have to. Have someone else listen to your reviewing. So, take even your little sister that can't read. Come here, honey, listen to me. Just, and if the person that is listening to you should pay attention. It's very important to have someone else listen to you and not you listening to yourself. All right? That's another issue that you need to take with you if you want to memorize the Quran al-Karim. And finally, and this is the hardest part. This is the hardest part that you can have. After you finish everything and you memorize it and you know that you have memorized it, write it. Write it. Well, I don't know how to write Arabic. Write it in English. You know that when they say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Write it with those words. Alhamdu, A-L-H-U-M, Hamdu, U, Lillahi, L-I-L-A-H. My God, by the time you finish, you're an old man. But write it down. Do you know what happens when you write it? You're not going to forget it again. Inshallah. Inshallah. If you take these, I guarantee you will memorize the Quran al-Karim. And don't give up. Time is on your side. You don't have to finish in 30 days or in a year. You can finish in 3 years. You can finish in 5 years. You know what? At the end, you're going to finish. But if you say, oh my God, 3 years is too long, and you give up, after 3 years, you still have nothing. Correct or not? I mean, how many of you said, I want to memorize the Quran al-Karim, and then you never started, and 2 years later, you're still saying, I want to memorize the Quran al-Karim? It's never going to happen. Oh, I want to get my my bachelor's degree, but you never go to school. It takes you 12 years just to get out of high school. Imagine. It takes you 4 years to finish your BS, and it's all BS. Excuse my language. I'm serious. You want to memorize the Quran? Start right away, and time is on your side. If you live to finish, alhamdulillah. If you die and you didn't finish, Allah will reward you for your intention, even though you did not finish. Like that you memorized. Alright? But you want to make sure that you want to memorize it, and you start. And don't ever give up. And I advise the brothers that teach Quran at the masjid, don't beat the kids. I'm serious. You know, we Yemenis and Somalis, we beat the kids to memorize the Quran al-Kareem. The teacher's there with the stick all the time. Even if he didn't hear what the student said. Why'd you hit me? I don't know. What is that? I mean, you don't know. You cannot teach the Quran with the stick. I am against this. I am against it. I am against it. Because we need to have our kids love reading the Quran, not being forced to read the Quran. You understand? When you beating those kids with and then you say, well, we finished with 15 people that memorized the Quran at the end of the year because we were beating them. No. Because probably that's never going to help them anyway. The Quran is ruh. قَدْ أَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكُمْ رُوحًا مِّنْ أَمْرِنَا. Ruh, you know? It's soul. You can't beat the soul in. It has to blend in. It has to blend in. So may Allah bless them there, that teaching the Quran and, you know, Masjid Abu Bakr and all that. May Allah bless them. Just don't beat them. Beat them for math. If you have to. طيب, inshallah. With that, inshallah, we come to a conclusion. We get to the question and answer. I thought question and answers are at nighttime when everybody's asleep. Because I was looking at the schedule, and from 9 to 10 is question. From 10 to 11 is question and answers. I said that's the best time. Those who did the schedule are very intelligent because that time everybody's asleep. We can answer and say whatever we want. It says in a hadith that on the day of judgment, the first thing that will be asked of a person is their salah. So one who have memorized and learned the tafsir of the Quran but does not pray, will the Quran still save them? Yeah, because eventually the Quran will give them guidance, inshallah. And yet, you know, I've seen some people, not a lot of people. I've seen some people that memorize the Quran Kareem, and for whatever reason, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Okay. But eventually, if the Quran stays in them, they'll go right. Otherwise, the Quran will leave. The Quran will exit their hearts. The Quran al-Kareem cannot exist in a person's heart if that person is not good. Do you understand what I'm saying? I know that for a fact. But they might go wrong for a while, but they'll come back. They'll make tawbah. Otherwise, they'll forget the Quran. إِنَّ الْقُرْآنَ لَأَشَدُّ تَفَلُّتًا مِنَ الْمَرْءِ مِنَ الْإِبِلِ فِي عُقْلِهَا. Rasul ﷺ says the Quran is so quicker to be lost, to escape from a person, than a camel is to escape from his rope. So if you don't pay attention to it, it'll go away. If you're not praying, the Quran will go away, inshallah. So hopefully, memorize the Quran, it'll protect you, inshallah, and make you go to the masjid and make you pray. And the hadith is true. The first thing that a person is asked Yawm al-Qiyamah is salah. And if the salah is right, everything else is right. If the salah is wrong, everything else is wrong. But that doesn't mean that that person go to hell either. That doesn't mean that that person go to hell. He might go for 1 million or 2 million years. And he goes out. Because لا يخلد في النار من قال لا إله إلا الله. No one is going to stay for eternity in hellfire if he had said La ilaha illallah and was a Muslim. But like I said, they might go for a couple of million years. And by the way, you know, 1 day is equivalent to 1,000 years of our time. So you will do the multiplication. 1 million times 1,000. I don't know. Even though one dip in hellfire can do the all. I read the Quran in English every day. Or I read the Quran in English every day. Do I get the same thawab if I read it in Arabic? No. The Quran is only in Arabic. What you read in English is not Quran. It's translation of the meanings that the translator understood from the Quran al-Kareem. So it's wrong to write it on the book, you know, the noble Quran. Because it's not noble in English. It's not Quran in English. The Quran can only be in Arabic. Qur'anan Arabiyya. Qur'anan Arabiyyan ghayri dhi iwaj. Quran Arabi. Allah Ta'ala mentioned it 7 times in the Quran that this Quran is Arabi. Is Arabic. Anything else, you know, in Swahili, it's not Arabic. In Aramaic, it's not Arabic. It has to be Arabic. You understand? The Quran cannot be accepted in Arabic. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose this language, and that's where the miracles come from. But if you read it, do you get rewarded for reading the meanings? Yes. You get reward for studying the Quran al-Kareem, even if you studied it in a different language. But you don't get the alif, lam, mim thing, for every letter there's a hasana, and for every hasana is multiplied 10 times unless it's the Quran al-Kareem. Right? And if you can't read it, turn on the tape and listen to it. But shame on you if you can't read the Quran al-Kareem. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum.